Hello, good evening. Who's going to be the first to join us today? Hello, Pastor Nikki. Hello, Shegun Fatima. Good evening. Rochelle White. Good evening. Good evening, guys. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. As you're coming in, please start to share. Hello, Patty. How are you? Good. Esther, good evening. Good evening, Paul. Thank you for joining. And as you're joining, please start to share also. Laura, good evening. Gloria, good evening. Amachi, how are you? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today. Or this evening, should I say? Uriyomi, good evening. Chidi, how are you? Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining. Thank you, Patty. I can see that you shared. Thank you. Hello, Queen Anastasia. How are you? Chinwei, good evening. Gift Blessing, how are you? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. As you're sharing, please also invite your friends. Good evening, Daniel. Riyomi, thank you. Riyomi saying good evening, DSA and beautiful DSA family. Pastor Ernest, good evening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, guys. I'm going to turn to Pastor to say hello, Dr. Sunday to say hello to you. You know I interchange between Pastor and Dr. Sunday, so you should know by now. Okay? So.
Bless you guys.
Okay. Bless you guys, he said. How are you guys? Hi, Julie. Good evening. Borigi, good evening. MJ, good evening. So thank you guys for joining. Guys, you know the first announcement, which is the contest. I can see that you're doing a fantastic job, but I believe that we can do a lot more better. So I don't want to have to repeat myself, but let me just tell you the prizes. Let me remind you of the prizes for the contest. The 5 different prizes you could win. Number 1 is Pastor Sunday's books. You know that he's written a lot of books already, so there's a whole array of books to choose from. So that's the first prize. The second prize is my favorite, a Skype talk for 1 hour with Dr. Sunday. That would be an amazing experience. I've experienced it for the first time and it was great, and I was blessed by that time, that moment that I had with him. Probably one of the moments that influenced me to be here today. So another prize you can win is be Pastor Sunday's personal visitor to Ukraine. So you will be here to visit him and spend time with him. Again, that's a fantastic prize, and you will not regret it. That is a motivation for me, actually. I've been here for a few months and I still love it. And then there's lunch with Pastor Sunday, which is always going to be a feast. It's not just going to be a lunch that you just eat. It would be a feast. It would be like dining with kings. You could have it with him alone, or you could have it with other people. There's always a feast when you have dinner or lunch with Dr. Sunday. And then the 5th one is a personal question time, much like what we've been having for the last few weeks, but it would be your personal question time. You can ask him any question that you want for a whole hour. You spend time with him. So those are the prizes for the contest, and there are 8 categories. There's something for everyone, so there's no way that you would ever miss out or feel like you're not included. This is a great contest, and it's all about promoting the teaching of Dr. Sunday, telling us what you're doing with yourself, letting us know if you're one of the great doers, if you've achieved the project that you want us to know about. Also, letting us know if you understand the 7 scale, the 11 actually, gratitude scale. You can always tell us the top 3. So if you can describe the top 3 and then align it with what you've done, also that would be fantastic. And then followers of Dr. Sunday. So there are 8 categories. I don't want to go into it or one by one, but maybe I should actually, let me do that. Let me go into it one by one. Okay, because it might help somebody out there. Not assuming that you've all seen this contest, but let me tell you where you will find the contest. It's on all the pages that DSA's name is on, or is related to Dr. Sunday, and it's also on this page that you're watching from. But let me tell you what the categories are. The first category is 7 best doers, which is people who've accomplished the most projects after the teachings of Pastor Sunday. So if you've done anything, maybe you started your own website, your own talk show, or maybe you've written a book or two. I know a few people that have, so that's why I'm mentioning that. So if you've been a doer, you've achieved something, you've set up a business that you've always wanted to set up, but you were pushed or encouraged by Dr. Sunday's teaching, then this is a category for you. Just document that and send that to us. Then second one is 7 most grateful performer. There's a gratitude scale, which is really interesting, and I think you should check it out. Even just for the knowledge of the different gratitude scale, it's really important that you check this out. If you can tell us the top 3 gratitude scales and what you've done, what you've done to align yourself with the top 3 of the gratitude scale, that would be fantastic. Send that to us so that you can enter the contest and we'll be able to see what you've done. And then there's number 3, which is 6 most zealous book reader. If you're a book reader or you've read a lot of Dr. Sunday's book, even if you're not a book reader but you've read Dr. Sunday's book, then I would say you're a zealous person. So let's see what books you've read and tell us about the book, the values in the book, what you've learned and how you've used those values. And then there is another one, which is 6 best followers or students of Dr. Sunday's. These are people who've listened to the largest amount of Dr. Sunday's teachings. That would be all of us. Everyone on this platform should be in this category, because if you come in day out to listen to him, you will listen to quite a lot of his teachings. And if you've been on his YouTube, which is Sunday Adelaja Official, or his blog, which is sundayadelajablog.com, then you would have been able to enter into any of this by telling us exactly what you've learned and just documenting that and sending us to enter for this category. And then there is another category, number 5, which is 6 DSA teachings promoter. So this one is about DSA teaching promoter. It's not just DSA, as you know. I don't want to repeat myself on that, but you know already it's about the teaching, it's about Kingdom of God, it's about nation, it's about you. So if you're somebody that can promote the teaching, or you have been promoting the teaching, then enter into this. And whoever did the largest shares of his teaching on YouTube, so you can take his teaching on YouTube and share it on your page on Facebook or any other platform. And if you can document that, then again you can enter into this category. Then there's another one, which is number 6. I'm losing my breath. There's so much to do, so much to know. And then number 6, 7 best creator of 5-minute video of lessons from DSA's teaching. This can be done by everybody again. Just get a camera, get in front of the camera, and just tell us about his teaching that most inspired you, or you like other people to know. So send that to us, 5 minutes video. That would be great. And then there's number 7, which is 5 best video biography. This one will be fun because, you know, Dr. Sunday's life has been so colorful, although a little bit sad right from the beginning, but you know, good and bad works for good. It works for God's purpose, as we learned yesterday. So this biography would be fun. If you can tell his stories. He's told his stories so many times in his teachings, and also there's a particular book that you can get to get the information that you need in order to do this, which is the book titled Olorunwa. That's his biography. So if you can get that book, or you've already got the book, you can use it to create your video, or you can just listen to some of his teaching. In the last few weeks, he's mentioned in detail about his life and his upbringing, so you would have something to go back to reference. So, and then there is the final category, which is number 8, which is about the essay Golden Jubilee. Yay! So this is for the person or the people, because 6 people can win this. Outstanding DSA Golden Jubilee congratulatory message. So if you send a message to me, or I would say you should start new messages just to fit into this category. An outstanding message to Dr. Sunday and congratulating him about his birthday, his golden jubilee, which I can't wait. I can't keep calm for. It's coming up very soon, or we're celebrating already. So if you're one of those people that can actually do either any format, you can do a video, you can do a written testimonials or congratulatory message, send it to us. Let's see, and then you will be entered to this category. So that's it, guys. That's the contest. But the information is on all the pages and platforms that Dr. Sunday's group is on. So there you go. So guys, let's see what you guys are saying before we start the questioning this evening. So Afolabi, good evening. MJ, good evening. Again, Deborah Cole, good evening. Doris, good evening. Doris is saying good evening, sir. Okay. I think you've all said hello. Laulu, good evening, and thank you for sharing. Thank you guys. Yetunde, good evening. Fumi, good evening. MJ, Chisandra, how are you? Good evening. I don't know what's going on. Since yesterday, I've not been able to join in on Facebook Live. It's always frozen and help, guys. Okay, it's okay here. The service seems fine. So it might be your network, MJ. Hello, Kate. Thank you for joining. Joyce, good evening. Okay. Bumi, good evening. Good evening. Okay. So let's get started for today. So let me quickly summarize yesterday. Yesterday was really interesting. Not that every day is not interesting. You know by now that I say that all the time. For each day, it just seems to be another height of understanding, knowledge, wisdom that is impacted on me, and I'm sure on one or two people out there too. So yesterday we finished with a question about DSA. This question was really interesting because the person was saying DSA is being a superstar and well known all around. The first part of it is the first part of it was asking about him being a superstar for Jesus, and if he's happy and how he feels about all his accomplishments. And then there's a third part, which is, do you ever think that you will accomplish what you have right now? So the first part of it is Dr. Sunday answered with, I don't think that I'm a superstar.
Are we going to continue that question?
Yes, we will continue.
That particular question?
No,
if we have finished it, then just let's go to another one with that.
Okay.
Let them go watch it.
Okay. I think Dr. Sunday is tired of my summary. So anyway, what you need to do is watch the video. You can watch it on YouTube, which is Sunday Adelaja Official. So check it out. Okay. And what I just wanted to say is that good and bad is all good. That's the important thing about this question, because I asked a follow-up question after that, and it was really interesting. So check it out. Check it out. Okay? All right. So let's start today with question. Pastor, from your message, are you ready, sir?
Yep.
Okay. Pastor, from your message at the beginning of your ministry, you said you prayed for 6 hours every day, drinking only water, and you usually lock yourself up for 7 days in a week just to fellowship with God. So many people want to be like you, but it entails a lot of sacrifice. How many people can even pray for an hour? I think you should promote that. So that's just saying. And then the question is, so during your fellowship with God, what were you really praying for that long hour, for the 6 hours?
No, I think I answered that question.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I answered it before.
Okay.
So let somebody go back and...
Okay, that question, Dr. Sunday have answered it.
That was when I was talking about solitude and what it meant.
Okay.
So I answered it already.
Okay, let's move on then. Right, there's another question here that says, on how DSA managed to be productive in the day while sleeping less at night. Can he tell us the tips of how to be very productive in the day with only 5 hours at night?
Yep. For me, I personally believe that anybody should have as much night rest as he needs to function during the day. It is not DSA's hours of sleeping at night that should become yours. You cannot use my own horse to run your own race. Everybody is supposed to have their own understanding of their own body, the way their own body functions. Normally, I even try to not to tell people anymore that how much I sleep at night, because I discovered that people want to think that that is the way to do things. But when you are in this kingdom, you discover that the most important thing is your walk with God, it's your personal relationship with God. And if you are friendly with God, if you are friendly with the Holy Spirit, you just follow His leading. It's not about laws anymore. It's not about a standard that will work for everybody, even though it will work for you. But why don't you just consult with your spirit, with the Spirit of God in you, and with your body? It depends on how your body is functioning. So I might need just 4 or 5 hours in a day, but you might need in the night to sleep, but you might need 8 hours. But for me, what matters is not how long somebody sleeps in the night, but how effective is he when he's not sleeping. So if you know that 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep will not make you to be effective, it will not give you the effectiveness that you need during the day, then don't do it. Go for 8 hours. Sleep for as much as you need so that you will be strong enough to do what you need to do during the day. That's the basic of sleeping, the basic principle behind it. But now, if you just want to know about me, how come I'm productive? Normally, I sleep straight, at night, just uninterrupted sleep, only 4 hours. Then sometimes I could, after doing some things, I could still take another hour. Like, for example, let's say I wake up at 5 o'clock. I went to bed at 4, woke up at 5. I could work till 6 or 7. Then if I don't have any urgent thing to do early in the morning, I could take another nap, another 1 hour. So it's right there in the day, in the morning, after waking up. So before I start my day. So sometimes it works out like that. But even if it doesn't work out like that for me to take another 1 hour in the morning, what I do sometimes is that during the day, I find an opportunity to take the super nap. Either because I have a driver, or I have drivers or assistants. So when I'm going to town, I try to sleep in the car sometimes. Or I take a break during my day, work, and I go and take a nap for 30 minutes or 1 hour. 1 hour is just enough, more than enough. 30 minutes, or even 15 minutes is even enough sometimes for me. Just a little. So that is enough to take me till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock the whole day again, the whole night. So that's how I do it. So but that's just me. But like I said, you need to sleep for as long as you need for you to be effective. But you see that, like now, you see towards the end of the day, especially today, I was in court the whole day. So I came back immediately, just a few minutes before the previous program. So I'm sitting in courtroom and all day and all those kind of things that you are hearing. It's not very healthy for you, so it makes me tired. So I finished the program. I came in just for the earlier program, finished that, and we just I did another recording before now, and now we're ready to go with this. So normally by this time I'm already tired, but for me, tiredness of the body doesn't mean too much. I might not be talking as energetic initially, but when I get going, if there are some interesting questions, I come up all over again. But when I'm tired, even when I'm sleeping, like now, my body could be tired and I'm sleepy. I feel like my body is just off. But for me, I am still productive despite that. I might be sitting down here now and snoring even. But if my mind is still working, I've developed my mind and I've trained my mind to work, to be in the here and now all the time. So the ability to be in the here and now, even when I'm talking, I'm sleeping, I'm closing my eyes and really sleeping, but I can still talk at the same time while I'm sleeping. But what my mind does better, even when I'm snoring, you could be hearing me snoring, but I still know what is happening, and I could still be responding. I could still talk back to you, and correct it. For example, if I'm editing my books, and I could still be dictating the books while I'm snoring on one end. But on the other hand, even while I'm snoring, I could still be hearing what you are reading out to me and then stop you and correct you, that even you who is not sleeping, you are not seeing the mistakes, but I that is sleeping, I'm seeing the mistake and I'm still able to correct. The reason is because I've trained my body, my mind to be at alert, at such a high level of alertness and at a high level of consciousness that even when my body is off, my mind is working. So for me, tiredness doesn't affect my effectiveness as long as I'm working with the mind. If for me, tiredness in my own understanding has to do with physical, maybe I will not, tiredness means I might not be able to do physical work. But if I'm tired, no matter how tired I am, my mind is still working almost at the same level as when I was not tired. Like now, I'm sleeping right now, but I'm still giving you answer. My body, that is sleeping, but I'm still giving you all the answers, and I'm still making sense. So that is, and that's why when I'm not, when I'm at a lot, when I'm during the day working, for me it's like a waste of time just to sit down somewhere and be doing just one thing. I can, that's why I can combine 2-3 things to do at the same time because of that high level of concentration and high level of consciousness. That is what Sir Isaac Newton was talking about, and that's what he says about genius. He says genius is a concentration of thought in a certain direction. That's not quite the accurate quotation, but the idea is that when you are able to hold on your thought, your consciousness, and hold on a subject and concentrate on it for so long, the longer you're able to concentrate your thought and your mind, because for average people, they cannot concentrate their attention level for more than 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes you have to think about something. Every 2 minutes your mind flies away. But people who have disciplined themselves to be able to concentrate and hold on their concentration level for as long as, not 2 minutes, maybe as long as possible, they are the people who become genius, because they have trained their mind, their consciousness, their concentration level to be able to develop, so they can research any subject until they get to the root of it. So concentration and the habit of being here and now, being the here and now, has really helped me. So I don't daydream. My mind doesn't fly away. You can never see me say, oh, what did you say? Oh, I lost it. Or I thought about something. My mind doesn't wander away. I've disciplined myself to have my mind and my concentration to be in the here and now most of the time. So I think that has been helpful.
Yes. Wow. I'm really surprised again by that answer, but I'm not surprised about some things because I've witnessed it. When the editors are reading the book out and he's really literally snoring, he would say, no, stop that, wake up, stop. No, you should say something else. And I used to, when I first came here, I used to look at him and say, what's going on? Is this person human? How can he wake up just after I can hear him snoring and hear what the person is reading to correct it? That really freaked me out, but it doesn't anymore. I'm used to it. I see it all the time. So, but the important thing about this is that this is a leader that is saying that don't worry about what I do in terms of my sleeping pattern. My sleeping pattern is according to my body and what I have trained myself to develop. So, worry about you. Get to know your sleeping pattern. And secondly, understand that even if you are awake, if you're not productive, then you might as well be sleeping. So that's the key for me here. So it's not about copying how long he sleeps so that you sleep 4 hours. But what if you're awake and you're not productive? You have to combine productivity with the time that you're awake. Each hour that you're awake, it has to be an hour that yields you towards your goals, so towards your purpose in life. So the key here is get to know your body, get to know your health. Don't try to be like Dr. Sunday. Be who you are. Learn to know what your body requires for you to be productive throughout the day. So it could be you need less or you even need more time. But when you wake up, you can do so many things. So that's the key here that I have learned. And I hope that you have learned something too, or even more. Somebody asked that the question was a follow-up question, that how do you train yourself that way? How did you do it?
I have a book that is called How to Be in the Here and Now. That book is coming out soon. That book is going to be coming out on my 50th birthday. So I will advise the person to get the book, How to Be in the Here and Now. And also to get another book that is going to be called I'm a Person, Am I a Personality? Those two books will really open your eyes and give you understanding on how to do this.
Okay, it's all documented. Isn't that even better than you just hearing this? Because getting a book and reading and knowing, okay, this is not what you need to do is far, far, far more greater than just being recorded and just saying it. So this is it, How to Be in the Here and Now. And there's another book, sir. I've just forgotten that book that you just mentioned. 2 books, How to Be in the Here and Now, and then another one. So check it. What's the other one, sir?
I'm a person.
No,
Am I a personality?
Okay. How to Be in the Here and Now, and I Am a Person, Am I a Personality? Those 2 books will help you. They haven't been launched yet, but they will be launched by the end of this month. So please write those books down and get them if you want to learn how to discipline yourself or develop yourself so that you can be as productive as well. Here you are, documented. You can have it for life. You can save it and keep it and buy more for your children and your children's children. So there you go. Right, thank you for that. Next question, sir. What is your greatest desire for humanity?
That is a very easy question and a very easy answer. My greatest desire for humanity is that humanity will come to know their Creator, that humanity will come to know the Christ and His principles is light, that the light of Christ will enlighten every heart.
When you say that was easy, I didn't think it was that easy. Well, so his greatest desire for humanity is that humanity will get to know their Creator. They will get to know Christ and know the light of Christ. So, easy as that, as ABC. Nothing more. Okay, which is a really big surprise to me. I was expecting a very elaborate answer to that. Guys, I didn't ask you to keep your questions coming. So please do keep your question coming. You know what to do so that I can identify the questions easily. So it's Q, which is to indicate there's a question, colon, and then your question. So please, please, please put your thinking cap on as well as your listening ears so that you can listen as well, write your questions. Okay, somebody asks that, who are you?
You understand the question?
Maybe, yes, I do. I think
could.
This question probably came from who am I, why am I here?
Okay.
Question. So this person is asking that, who are you? Who would you describe yourself to be? So who are you? Who is Dr. Sunday Adelaja?
I would like to think that Dr. Sunday Adelaja or Pastor Sunday Adelaja is, first of all, an expression of God, a reflection of God, an image of God. Someone that has invested so much time in himself to add value, God's value to himself. Someone that has gone a long way to push himself, that keeps on pushing himself through failures, difficulties, successes, but keeps on pushing himself to discover God in all his fullness. Even though no human being can discover the fullness of God, our body cannot contain it. But Sunday Adelaja is probably, I would like to think that Sunday Adelaja is probably one of those people who have gone further as possible to discover in adventures in God. Someone who has taken adventures into God to discover as much as possible of God, his nature, his character, his attributes, and not just to discover in the head, knowing the nature of God and the mind of God, but also who has dedicated his time and his energy to digest that knowledge and to make that knowledge become an understanding. So Pastor Sunday Adelaja, I would say, he is someone that has invested much time into knowing God and understanding God and his ways, and someone that is an interpretation of God. I like to see myself as an interpretation of God, as a translation of God, as a demonstration of God, as a reflection of God, as an interpretation, as a translation of God in the flesh, on day-to-day manifestation of God's nature, God's character, God's heart, God's essence in everyday life. So I will just, if you want the description, the long description to be put into a few words, I would say I'm a God carrier and a kingdom imposer. I'm working every day to impose the kingdom of God on the earth and on different spheres of life. But on a regular basis, I see myself as a God carrier. So a God carrier and a kingdom imposer.
Okay, for that person that asked the question, and for all of us, Dr. Sunday sees himself as a God carrier, somebody that imposed the character of God here on earth, an image of God, someone who has invested time to get to know God and develop himself, and is still continuing to develop himself in God, in God's knowledge, in God's understanding, God's character, God's manifestation, a daily manifestation of God. That's quite a lot of God. This is somebody that is not afraid to get to know God and demonstrate God. That's what I'm hearing. I think maybe I will speak for myself personally, but a lot of us stay away from God because we think that it's such a height that you cannot attain. God is just so mighty, but it's really refreshing to hear somebody else says that he's reflecting God, he's getting to know God, he wants to understand God. I think this is probably one of the main reasons when I speak to people who are not Christians, that it's just too much to be a Christian, it's too hard, there's so many rules and this and that. And just hearing another human being, not in an arrogant way, just in a self-assured way as a son of God, to say that he's living his life daily to reflect God, to reflect God's character, to get to know God daily. He invests time, his energy. He wants to know the.
But it's not about what
God.
I say. It's about what people like you say, or anybody who is around here, because they are not here, and that's what they want to hear more. What are people around saying?
Okay, right, guys. I think I have posted something today already on what people are saying, but let me just talk about what I'm saying. I've heard what a lot of people are saying. I spent time with him a few months now. Yes, and yes, this is one of the reasons why I'm here. if I don't want to talk too much about myself, because this time is really precious, and I want everybody else also to gain from Dr. Sunday, not from what I've got to say. But in this instance, this characteristics that I see is not a characteristics that I've ever seen in anybody that I know. So that's one of the first things that attracted me to Dr. Sunday.
What characteristics?
The characteristics of Jesus. That's what I see. This is for me, when I first start to make sense of him in my head as a human being, it seemed to me, even up to now, that this is somebody that is acting Jesus like in the Bible, how Jesus is in the Bible, how it's written that Jesus' character is, how I imagine Jesus to be, is a human being on earth that is daily showing that characteristics. So I watched him, I hear him, I talk to him daily, on general basis, on things that are not even related to Christianity or religion, and his response to me is always pouring out like this is what Jesus would say. This is the only person that I know in my years that have ever showed me these characteristics, this behavior, these attributes of Jesus. So that's why I gravitated towards him. And also the fact that he just wants to free you. He just wants you to be liberated. He feels your pain. He feels your desires. He understands where you're coming from. He doesn't look down on anybody. Those are the things that I see. I read from the Bible that this is how Jesus is. And all those things were embodied in him, and I see him do this daily, day in, day out. I've watched him thinking that he's going to slip up somewhere. I'm going to watch this guy, something's going to happen somewhere. But no, to my, I would say, maybe surprise or even disappointment, because it's very hard to imagine a human being that is like that, because I haven't seen any, even my parents or even people that I know that they love me very much. They haven't actually done a lot of the things or even respond in the way that he responds to situation. So that I can attest to, and I'm still attesting to, because I'm still here, and we'll see. I'm not a doubter, but it's just.
Well, what about before you came?
Well, before I came, again, this is the reason why I gravitated towards Dr. Sunday. Before I came, I just used to wonder, because what happens before I came here was, I used to talk to him on Skype every now and then. And if I have questions, I had really, really tough questions to ask him. And he wasn't fazed by those questions, and he doesn't give me answers that I can ever envision or expect. So I started to really warm towards him, that I can ask him anything at all without feeling this is a pastor or this person wouldn't understand, and have the assurance that I'm going to get an answer that will give me peace. So it's not really just about the external or our interaction. It's about the internal, how I feel after speaking to him. It almost feels like when you pray and you have the peace that God has answered your prayer. So that's how I can explain it. That's my explanation. And then, I started just feeling so liberated in my day-to-day living, day-to-day life, and feeling content just because he's alive, just because he's there, as a human being. No other reason. And again, this is what Jesus is to me, is because he died for us, just because I know I'm a child of God, or I believe in Jesus, I take him as my Lord and personal Savior. Just knowing that he is there, I have that peace, that understanding that if I need anything, if I need to understand anything, any knowledge, any impartation of understanding, for me, understanding is more important. And he was there available to give it to me, and I go back feeling at peace, feeling at ease. And what happened to me was I was nicer. I was much nicer to other people. It was really that, like, Jesus came into my life. It wasn't the Christianity that I was living, where I was going to church, I was a Christian, but I wasn't nice. I didn't care about people. I didn't love people, and I don't care what they're doing. I'm always judging them and judging myself even more. And after speaking to him and getting to know him, listening to his teachings, I started to love people more, because he was showing so much love without any motives, nothing in exchange for that. So I was thinking, well, if he can do it, he inspired me to do that, which is what they're always preaching to me in church, but I couldn't attain. I wasn't able to do it because it didn't make sense to me. I was just reading about Jesus, the people around me, the pastors and the church, the leaders, and even other people, even me myself. I wasn't connecting, and from listening to him and his interaction also with me enabled me to be able to. So I was able to love people. I was happier. I wasn't judgmental. I started to understand God more, and I started to love Jesus more, and actually think that, right, Jesus is actually worth listening to, because this was in this book, the Bible, and this is now a real person that is personifying that. So that was my experience of him, and that's who I would say that he is. You know, sometimes I even have a slip of tongue where it says Pastor Jesus. It's not blasphemy. It's just, this is what is inside of me. This is what I see. This is what I know of him. This is my experience, and that's why I just say it. It's like my mouth is saying what I feel, what I believe inside, what I experience inside with him. So that's my experience. I'm sorry if I've taken your time with my own life and my own experience, but the question was asked, and I think I believe that it is right that I answer that question. Okay, thank you. So have I answered your question, sir?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Okay. This person says, you have been encouraging us to engage in analytical thinking, and it has formed the way I take in information. But engaging a Christian friends on why Christians in most churches are discouraged from applying their minds to their faith. He said that if Christians begin analyzing the origins of the faith, it might lead them to begin to question concepts at the core of Christianity, such as virgin birth, Trinity, resurrection, ascension. Would those stand the test of analytical thinking? So this person is asking if that would stand the test of analytical thinking.
Okay. I think that's exactly the reason why they have to question everything, and why they have to engage in analytical thinking. You should not believe in something just because somebody else says so. You should not believe in God, in Christianity, just because that's what you are told. It should be your own conviction. As long as you are believing in Christ the way it has been related to you, not your own personal experience, you stand a good chance of falling away anytime. By the time there are questions that you cannot answer, by the time life situation throws challenges at you, you'll be defeated because you have not answered the question to yourself before the challenges come. So I think analytical thinking is not going to make you to lose your faith. And if it makes you to lose your faith, it means you didn't have that faith in the first place. Analytical thinking is supposed to strengthen your faith. It's supposed to help you explain your faith. Analytical thinking is supposed to help you question everything, even what you believe, and then find the reasons why you believe it.
That was a straightforward answer. And also, reading it, I was thinking that this person is saying that we suspend our brain because we don't want to find out the truth. But that's exactly what we should do, is find out the truth. So engaging in analytical thinking actually is the best thing, is the best way to find out the truth and the heart of God, if you can reason. But, you know, I love this answer because it says that you don't have to believe what somebody else says. So just because somebody comes to you and says, this is a Christ, your duty, your responsibility is to find out if this Christ is really true and this Christ is really what this person says they are. Don't take that person's word for it. You know, you need to experience the faith, the God in yourself, not what somebody else sold to you. And I think that's probably the problem we have, where we just listen to what maybe our parents says or what other people say about faith or a God without actually getting to know that God. So again, I thank the person that asked this question, but I also urge us to get to know God ourselves. Whatever anyone is telling us, it's not even just about God, about everything. Don't take that person's word for it. And coming from Dr. Sunday that teaches all the time, and spends his life teaching and investing on us, to say that don't take my words in a nutshell for it. Find out about this God, get to know him. Let that word that I speak be live in you too. Let the words in the Bible be live in you too. How fantastic is that? There's something wrong with the internet. Can you see? Okay, how fantastic can that be? I hope the time is gone from this.
The time is gone?
Yeah.
Okay, don't stop it. Don't cut it off. But
or the number of people.
If the number of people is gone, then it means it stopped.
Yeah, it's just saying live, but no number of people.
Yeah, it means it stopped. It was that a long time ago?
No, it just started literally now. When I said this, something is wrong. Okay, 5 people are back.
Okay.
Hi guys, I don't know what happened there. Oh God, it's gone again. Okay, you're back. I can see you. Hello guys, I don't know what happened, but welcome back. So that's that question, is get to know God. Don't take anybody's word for anything. Investigate it yourself. That's why God is giving you sound mind. Utilize it. Please do not suspend your brain because you are afraid not to believe in God. That would not be an issue. If you use your brain, use your sound mind, God will reveal himself to you, and the Holy Spirit will too. So that's that question done and dusted. Thank you. There was a question about Nigeria. So I'm running out of personal questions, so can I ask you this one?
Yes,
It says,
anyone?
what is your thought on the ongoing influx of Muslims immigrating into Europe, which is perceived as many as tactical Islamization of Europe? It is believed that as immigrants troops into Europe in their numbers, their eyes on the generous welfare systems and resources of European countries, as they procreate in their numbers, they would eventually outnumber their host, take over power through the polls, and impose Sharia law in Europe. And it is feared that the event might mark the beginning of the end, as the world will be thrown into darkness for who knows how long. How would you like to know your take? I would like to know your take on it.
Well, I think even though there is a truth in that, but that might not be as fast and as quick as we are thinking. But I think there is a possibility of that happening.
That's it.
I could expatiate more on it.
Please do, sir.
What I'm going to say about this might be a little bit controversial, but I think the Europeans have themselves to blame because they cannot take a decision and they cannot be firm enough, and they are playing democracy and leniency and tolerance. Is tolerance taken too far? And I think they are going to be caught up in their own games. They are going to be caught up in their own tolerance game. What I think is that the end time scenario is being played out. I think it's not this. It's very, very sensitive things that I want to say, but sooner or later that will happen, because Europeans have rejected the faith of their fathers. Europeans have mainly rejected the Christianity that brought them the greatness they have and the civilization they are enjoying right now. And many of them have turned their back at the very same foundations that their countries are built on. So I think it's just like they themselves are asking for trouble. And they have embraced tolerance of everything and anything. And that's going to come back to bite Europe. But on the other hand, in the European past, it is not just Christianity they had. They also had other not very good things. I personally think that Europe is doomed, but it's not going to come as fast. But sooner or later it will come. The doom will come. I'm not sure that it is Islam that's going to take over, but most likely. Because Islamic people have ideology. And people who have ideology, they are normally ready to die for their ideology, and they are ready to kill or to die for what they believe. As a result of that, they are always more committed. At the same time, when the Islamic people are so fanatically committed, the Europeans are just the opposite. Europeans are laid back, and their culture and their doctrines, their philosophy right now, their humanism, and the humanism doctrine and the doctrine of tolerance has made Europeans to be weak, has made them to be laid back. And another trouble with Europe is that their men are almost non-existent. The European men have been reduced to vegetables in their homes. The men have just replaced the women. The men are almost the same as babysitters at home. It has gone to a place whereby it's almost an insult to the European mind now to say that the man is the head of the family. They will almost think it's an insult. They will think you are inferior, and you are from the Middle Ages, from the Dark Ages. And but without that foundation of men standing and being strong to be foundation, then there will be no foundation of families. And if there are no foundation of men, if men are not the foundation of the family, then there is no foundation in the society. So sooner or later, that society is doomed. So the European society is doomed as long as they will not give back the place of leadership to the men in the home and in the society. And more so, the more reason why the European society is doomed sooner or later is that they don't have an ideology. They don't have an ideology. They are not captivated by anything. They are not addicted to anything. It's just personal survival. It's just making a living for yourself, and just going for holidays and just doing all kind of rubbish stuff. They are being reduced to the level of animals. They are just being reduced. They've reduced themselves by their government. Their government have reduced them to the level of plantations, of just people who don't have any willpower. Their willpower has been paralyzed. Their passion has been sapped off them. They have been reduced just to body animals. People who are just working on the plantation, just going to work and getting salary and being satisfied with that, and then going to drink or to party or to pub or to just going on holidays and be drinking there and just doing or filling the stadium with football, and they have been reduced from the level of humans because you are only human when you are living from consciousness. But people have been deprived of conscious living in Europe right now, especially the men and the women too, and they have just been they have been reared like cattle, like animals, as if the only thing that they need is just the instincts, the reflexes, and the stimulations and stimulus. So that's the only thing that the Europeans are being given. They are not being given anything that could feed their spirit. They are not being fed by the Word of God. And we know that the body, the Bible, Jesus said, Man shall not live by bread alone. But what the Europeans have been fed on is just by the bread alone. And he said, but the spirit needs to be fed also. And Jesus told us categorically that the only way to feed the spirit is by the word of God. And so the Europeans are no more doing that. So their spirit is dead. Only their flesh is left. Only their body is remaining. Whereas the Muslim people, their spirit is being fed by the Quran, by the spirits. They have strong spirit, and because they have stronger spirit, they are going. The person who has the stronger spirit is the one who will win. And so, because the spirit of the Europeans is not being fed, just their intellect and just their body is being fed, they have lost already. So that's why sooner or later they will not be able to withstand. And that is another reason why, so for that to be reversed, what needs to be done is that, the Europeans need to begin to raise strong Christian emphasis, and they need to begin to, counter, because the ideology of the Islam is a religious ideology, and only an ideology on that same level could counter and stop that. Only a superior ideology that is faith-based, like their own is faith-based, that kind of ideology can conquer and stop the aggression of the Islamists. So if that ideology, the only ideology that could conquer the ideology of Islamist extremism is the ideology of Christianity, the ideology of faith, the ideology of love. But that ideology of love is not being propagated. The government of Europe, they try to just turn their back on Christianity, and they just do as if it doesn't even exist. So they are not even cultivating or grooming the populations in the superior ideology that they could have used to counter the Islamic terrorist or extremist ideology. So and even if the government cannot do it, and they don't want to do it because they count themselves as secular states, let them, give visas, or let them give visas to people of faith, people who have strong Christian faith, and who will be very strong evangelically, who will be able to, stand and propagate and do polemics, and be able to, take the message of Christ very much more actively than the Muslims are taking it to the world. And then even when the Muslims are coming in, they should be meeting them with the gospel of Christ and with the gospel of love that is superior to what they are bringing, and use that to convert them, and to, even though they will be coming here, but they will be coming to become like us, like Europeans, like the Christians. But this way they are coming now. The Christians, Europe, they don't even have anything to meet with them, with. So they are not fit. They don't have. They are not equipped. The flesh or the mind is not enough to be able to counter this force of the spirit, and they have that. So, but another thing that is going to make Europe doomed is the fact that they are no more giving birth to children, and that is spreading all over Europe right now. It says that if any culture gives birth to less than 2 children per family, that culture will die off in the next a few hundred years. And European families now, the average number of children is less than 2 in most countries. So if it's less than 2, that's the end of the family. That's the end of the civilization. But now the only way most European countries are still surviving is because immigrants are coming. And these immigrants, the people who are mostly Muslims and things like that, maybe other. But even if Europe would not be replaced by Muslims, if the Muslims will not take over Europe, one thing that definitely will happen is that white people are going to die off. The white race is going to disappear sooner or later, or it's going to become minority. And that one is even scientifically proven already. And the reason for that is not just because they are not having all the things I've said, but there are other reasons why the white race generally will die off. They will not completely die off, but they will become the minority in the world everywhere. And the reason is because no race of people have committed the atrocities that Europeans have committed. Europeans have committed more atrocities than any other race of people. I mean, can you believe it that Europeans are the ones who started these world wars? The 2 world wars that have been recorded in the history of humanity were all fought in Europe. That is millions of people. In the last World War alone, over 25 million people were killed. 25 million people, just because of some people's greed and pride. There was another war, First World War before then, where millions of people also perished. These are Europeans killing themselves. But even though they are no more doing that, and that's why they have reduced and they have removed their strength, their men's strength and their leadership forge, because they don't want to repeat the kind of ego-driven society that they had before the world wars. But they have gone to the other extreme right now. Another thing is that Europe has not just started wars that killed Europeans, but Europeans have also done atrocities against other nations. Europeans have gone, to other cultures, to other nationalities, to other continents to kill people there. If you go to, there is no continent you go to where you will not hear horrible stories of the atrocities that Europeans have committed against the local people. Europeans went to India, the big India, Delhi and Calcutta and all those places, and they became the enemies of the Indians because they were killing them. The British people, Germans, Europeans went to Australia, and the Aborigines they just ran them down. They almost left, just a few of them left. They just destroyed them, whole nations of people. Europeans went to North America, and they just totally destroyed all those Red Indians. Millions of them. They went to Latin America, the same thing. Almost all of the population of Red Indians there were wiped out by Europeans. They went to Africa, the same thing. They didn't just kill millions in Africa, but they sold out millions. Over 10 million Africans were sold out. As a matter of fact, over the years, over 100 million Africans were shipped out as slaves. Human beings were being sold. Europeans did it. They went to Asia, the same thing. They went to India, the same time. They went to China, the same thing. Went to Japan, the same thing. Went to Korea, the same thing. So Europeans have destroyed so many lives and so many races of people, so many nations, and they have committed so much atrocities that what goes down up will have to come down, or what comes forward, what we'll say, yeah. It's a boomerang effect. It's a boomerang effect. It doesn't matter how many years it will take. It has to come back to haunt them. And science and statistics now has proven that, I can't remember how many years, but in a few years' time, in a few decades' time, there will only be 9% of Europeans left in the world. Only 9% of the world will be Europeans. Only 9%. Even right now, there is already moving towards that. The Europeans are dying off. Okay, for example, we only have 7 billion people in the world right now. Okay, say how many white people are going to be in this? No, they will be minimum. Well, they will become the minority of the world. Look at, out of 7 billion that we have, 7 billion, right? You have 2 billion in China, almost, right? You have 1 billion, actually 1 billion in India. That's already 3 billion already. You have 1 billion in Africa. That's already 4 billion already.
3 continents.
It has, in 3 continents, that's 4 billion. So 4 billion out of 7. Then go to Latin America. You have some white there and something, but if you put all of them together, that's another 1 billion. So that's 5 billion that are not white. 5 billion in all of Asia, they are not white. So that's 5 billion there. And then, let's say white people that are left will just be 2 billion maximum. And I doubt it will have less than, if they are even 2 billion right now. But in the next 100 years, they will not be 2 billion because people are marrying, people are traveling. Arabs are not white. Asians are not white. that Arabs are another 1 billion. So white people are already 1/6 of the world. They're already minority, but they are going to be really minority even in their own countries. Go to London. 40% of, actually 60% of London itself is already not white. It's still 40%. It's still 60% of England that is still white, but in the rural area and things like that, just because of the rural areas. But even in America is still majority white. But you wait, Mexicans are going to take over. White people should right now begin to buy off their sins. They should begin to cover up for the sin of their fathers by being nice to people of color and to other races, and getting understanding and development to come to developing countries, because otherwise, when they are monopolizing their own economic prosperity and they are undermining other countries, it's going to come to hurt them, their grandchildren, eventually. So that is going to happen sooner or later. Maybe not the Muslim, but Europe is going to be gone. It will be there, it will be existing, but it will be mainly not white people anymore.
Wow, guys. This is the history lesson that you didn't get in school. I certainly didn't get it in school. And they wouldn't tell me this, especially living in England. They wouldn't have told me what is history. But there's some keynotes there that I don't know if you observed. In terms of children, I read somewhere recently actually that a lot of Muslims, they're having children, they have lots of children, no limits on children. And I didn't actually take it as, they are building their force, they're building the force of Muslims, whereas the Europeans are saying that have less children, have one or two, without even, I wasn't even putting both together. But now I understand why. And also
they are averaging 5. Muslims are averaging minimum 5 in a family. That's a minimum of 5 in a family. Sometimes 7, sometimes 9. So minimum of 5 in a family, in a Muslim family, 7, 5 in a Muslim family, while Europeans are doing 1 or 2. So even just by giving birth, just by that alone, Europeans are already gone. White people are gone.
Yeah. There's a lot that's said there. This is like a whole history lesson and more. First of all, yes, it would happen. The answer to the question about Muslim taking over Europe, it's certainly going to happen. I heard, what they sow, they're now going to reap because of all the atrocities that the Europeans have caused. I know Dr. Sunday was a little bit reluctant to say what he thinks, but I'm so glad that he said everything that he said. So, number one, they turned away from God. The God that made Europeans great, they've turned away from him. They don't even worship anything. So they're lukewarm. They're neither here nor there. So obviously, the ones that are strong in their faith, in what they believe, even if that faith is not the right faith or whatever belief is not right, it's still strong. They're still strong in it. So they will dominate. The one that is just lukewarm will not dominate. This is a great lesson for me in other things as well, not just about this. So I can use this understanding with other things. If I'm not strong in a certain area, the one that is stronger will dominate. So lesson 1. Lesson 2, turning away from God. That's a big thing. European wants to be friends with everybody. They don't even want to mention God in schools. So the children are not raised with any value. The value is just love this, love that, without the basis for that love, without showing them the examples of the faith or the belief system that gave them that, and which is lack of understanding, really. Thirdly, there are no fathers, there are no foundation. That's real key that I haven't been thinking about, but there was a reason for that, which is because of all the atrocities that they've caused. So they're trying to make up for it by being nice, and all the men in Europe, they're not strong. They are really, as Dr. Sunday described them, they are, what should I say, sissies. So they're not strong. There's no strong foundation. There are no fathers. If there are no fathers, then there's no foundation. Then obviously you expect the house to collapse, which is the Europeans. They eventually collapse. And yeah, ultimately for me, it's that what they sowed, they should reap, unfortunately. And a good advice from Dr. Sunday is that Europeans should better be nicer now to most minority. I know you would have questions. If you have your question, keep them coming. If I don't, if we can't do it today, we'll do it another day. So they should be nice to all the other so-called minorities now, because according to the calculations, they will be in the minority in some years to come, but not that far. So that's a good advice. Just by rough calculation, it's already scary. They are already going in the minority. So I think we have done enough for today. Guys, let me read a little bit of your comments and see what's happening. But share this, please, because this will be a good history lesson for young people. I know young people in colleges or maybe in high school, they don't know all these things. They can't even link one thing to the other. We're being raised as biomass to work for the government and pay taxes. They're not raised, absolutely. That's government are just looking for taxes. You can't think for yourself, and you think that you're thinking when you're not thinking. You don't have any values. You're neither here nor there. So really, I think that these young people will really benefit from watching this, and maybe you can help them to understand what is said in here. With young people, their brain works really fast, so they might have questions. If you have teenagers, let them watch it. If they have questions, let them have their question freely and ask it. If you don't know the answer, you can send them to us. If you don't ask in this section, you would ask Pastor Sunday, which is on Fridays. So keep them coming, okay? Right, let me read your comments. If I can read them properly. Let's see. Oh, I think I'll read it on my phone. Okay. Good evening, Pastor Adelaja just joined us. They brought Christianity to Africa with the wrong motives. That's what Gives Blessing is saying. D saying the rate foreigners are giving birth is becoming very clear that we are overpowering them. So this is in agreement with what Dr. Sunday is saying. So true. Somebody is saying this is not just another history lesson. This is called prediction. That's from Chinwe. Is saying that what you're saying is prediction. T.Y. Bond said, so true. Muslims have large families. Shegun Fatima says, there are approximately 1.3 billion white people in the world. Gift says, they have lost it because their ideology is not based on love. That's what Gift is saying. Somebody says, I like that. Pastor, you're the first person that is bold enough to talk about this. Wow, that's Edwin was saying. Edwin, which is true, sir. I think you're the first person that is bold enough to say it. I think people say things like this privately, but not with the backup of the statistics and the information that you've given in such a full circle detail. So, very good. Gladys says, and many men of God here in Europe says God called them, but sometimes I ask for what? Only for tithes and offering. Laugh out loud, Gladys says. Chi Sandra says, so true. We must play our part. Borigi says, even in Christianity, they brought Christianity to us. Many inventors, scholars, scientists, and great men were from there. However, they lost it along the line when they stopped following God. So this person is in agreement. They left the faith of their fathers. That's Borigi saying. That's in agreement with what Dr. Sunday just said. Innocent says, and they managed to change the narrative, modify the history book, blame black people for crimes that they are socially engineering by themselves. That's Innocent. That's T.Y. says, Chisandra and Pastor Ebon, we have a duty to our family and environment. Many of us, in the name of politics correctness, are even afraid to be seen as believers. So she's put a hashtag on apologetically Christian. think she's talking about Christian hiding as Christians as well, because they don't want to offend their other faiths. Even the Bible says it. Julie is agreeing with you. Oluwatope says, what goes around comes around. Yes, what you sow, you should reap. And Paul says, very true, sir. These are deep histories. Yeah. That's Gift saying that. Ngozi says, militants is a very analytical minded and systematic way with understanding and conviction. Thank you. Sir, but that was then, many years ago. That's Borigi saying that, yeah. That, sir, but that was then many years ago. So whatever they've done many years ago is still a seed, Borigi. So it would germinate and grow, and that's what's going to happen. Either we like it or not, even we like it or not. Pastor Enesabong, I concur, you have spoken my mind. TY says we must be militant, clear, persuaded on our Christian faith to be able to withstand the deluge and onslaught of Islamic race. Pastor Enes says, it's so true, I'm in the system. The society is doomed. Islam is taking over gradually. They're even afraid of them. God is completely removed from the system. My shocking experience is what the younger generation doesn't even want to hear anything about. The ideology of Christianity is completely dead here. When even witnessing to young people, they curse God right on your face. Innocent says, this is one of the reasons why I respect DSA. The things in his mind. TY says, Oluwatope said, the fate of Europe doomed. And then Ngozi says, we must be militant about the gospel too. More militant than other religion, as soldiers of the cross with the love of God and other Christian virtues. Eric says, yes. Gift says, exactly. The ideology of love supersedes all other ideology. DSA, Julie says. T. Sandra says, Pastor, you're so on point. Shegun says, there's another question. I'll read that another time. Strong word and hearing here. Strength of spirit. That's TY. Okay. Thank you guys for all your lovely comments. It's been a great evening spending time with you. History lesson, coming to so much understanding. This is like me being in university or even a PhD class every evening. I'm learning so much, and I'm sure that you are learning as well. It's been a great time with you. I love spending time with you. I haven't been laughing much. I like to laugh, but it's been so serious. It's getting more intense every day, and because I'm soaking in the knowledge, I'm not spending much time laughing. But at least you're still seeing my teeth, huh? Because I know that you like seeing that. So it's been a pleasure to spend time, as I said, with you. And I know Dr. Sunday is quite tired, so we're going to call it a night this evening. I will come back to you tomorrow. So tomorrow we're starting from 7 p.m. Ukraine time. This is going to be the Ukrainian / the Russian testimonial birthday marathon. And then after that, then it will be myself and Dr. Sunday for question time in English. They're both in English and Russian, so this one is just going to be in English, just for you guys. So we look forward to seeing you. Whatever you've missed is on YouTube already, so check out Dr. Sunday's page, or should I say channel on YouTube, which is Sunday Adelaja Official, and his blog, which is his website, is sundayadelajablog.com. And if you're interested in the Nigerian Transformation Project, I promised to ask one of the questions on Nigerian Transformation, but tomorrow I'll make it priority. I will do. So if you're interested in the Nigerian Transformation Project, just go to sundayadelajablog.com/Nigeria. The details are there, information you needed there, and the forms in there to join. Okay? So again, I thank you and I appreciate you for joining. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a blessed night. Good night.